Here's a fun trip that Ora and I made recently to the California desert, the Anza-Borrego State Park, and then on up to the small mountain town of Julian. This isn't really what you'd call a hiking trip, but it did involve quite a bit of outdoor activity. And we'll begin with our visit to the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. This being the height of the wildflower season, we found lots and lots of people at the visitor center. And inside the visitor center, there are lots of displays about the wildlife and the flora and fauna of the area. And outside the visitor center area, there are lots of trails taking you out through the areas of cactus and other flowering plants. In one spot, we get quite a contrast between the desert-looking scrub brush and the new, colorful wildflowers. In one spot, we caught a picture of a curious roadrunner, here checking out all the intruders. We also find quite a variety of colors in these wildflowers, all intertwined with the desert cactus, of which there is a lot, some even with their own colorful flowers. And all of this results in a quite unique and interesting vista. And all of this within easy walking distance of the visitor center. Seems like all the plants are trying their hardest to add to the color. Including this desert cactus, which adds some flowers at the end of its spindly stalks. And from the visitor center, we went on out into the Borrego Valley area, where we caught a glimpse of what amazingly looked like elephants out on the desert. In fact, these are very realistic looking prehistoric elephants. And they are here due to the efforts of a man named Dennis Avery, who purchased miles of Borrego Springs property in the 1990s, known as the Galleto Meadows. And Avery, a multimillionaire, commissioned Mexican artist Ricardo Breceda to create what he called sky art for the Galleto Meadows. Some of these sculptures are really quite dramatic, and they're all made from scrap reinforcement bars, wire, and other pieces of metal. There are really a wide variety of creatures spread across this desert. Most are prehistoric beasts that roamed this area millions of years ago. And actually, this is only still a work in progress. And the eventual plan is to have more than 100 of these sculptures spread out across the desert. And here Jack and Ora had to have their picture taken in front of this prehistoric bird and nesting chicks. But then it was time to leave the desert and head for the mountains. And as we start up, we take a look back at the Borrego Valley down below us. A bit farther up, we go through some of this tortured-looking landscape. And then we arrive at the nice little mountain town of Julian at about 4,300-foot elevation. Julian was established during the California Gold Rush days. And here's the original jail building left over from those days. This is really a neat little mountain town. It so happens they were having a daffodil festival here this weekend. and the Julian town hall was just full of very, very pretty daffodils, including this beauty. And thus ended our trip to some parts of Southern California that we hadn't been to before and may very well go back to see again.